And again, you were way out in front of the trends at that time. They're really, I didn't hear at least other investors talking like this. Now that's changed, and I think you have people who see the success of Genoa and feel like, okay, I see that there's an opportunity there, and they want to.
Which is great. We welcome it. No company gets built with one investor, right? It really does require a capital formation journey from the beginning that chips away at the risk, that shows the milestones, that brings in stage-appropriate investors who understand the company at each point and helps them get to the next level. So we take that role very seriously. We know we're not late-stage investors, but what we can do is be that partner at the very beginning that says, we get where you're coming from at the science, we understand the fundamentals, let's chart a course to the kind of success and impact you want to have, and get there every step of the way. And how can we support you on that journey?
And I also appreciate that Genoa understands the value of diagnostics. So that's another, you're an outlier there as well.
We're either brilliant or crazy or a little combination of the two.
I think brilliant is where I'm going to stand on this one.
Thank you.
And the reason is, I think, again, I don't know the whole backstory behind, the two sides of the aisle around therapeutics versus diagnostics, because the two are so intimately connected.
For the actual patient impact and practice of medicine,
Absolutely intimately connected. You cannot understand the right, first of all, if you misdiagnose a patient, you're not going to give them the right therapeutic. Second of all, these days, I think in the era of precision medicine, that only works if you can select the right patient for the right therapeutic. And so you need to have diagnostics that allow you to open the door for precision medicine. And it's just that simple. So I have long been of the mind that without state-of-the-art diagnostics, you can't make the best use of your therapeutics. You really do need to have both. So, and I think I'm hoping that now in the sort of hopefully the wind down phase of our pandemic era, that we now understand more than ever the value of rapid, accurate diagnostics. Cancer patients have been frustrated, since the beginning of medicine over trying to get a read on what's going on in their bodies with their tumors. People with colon cancer often go undiagnosed for many, many years because the diagnostics will miss the earliest stages. Ovarian cancer patients, go through an incredibly frustrating journey trying to get to the bottom of their usually very nonspecific symptoms at first. And if we overinvest in therapeutics without a commensurate investment in diagnostics, we're just leaving a lot of value on the table.
And spending a lot on therapies that might not work or might actually do harm.
And having expensive clinical trials fail because we didn't choose the right patients for the therapeutics that we invested hundreds of millions of dollars into already.
Well, I appreciate you calling that out because it is something distinctive about us at Genoa. We don't invest in any therapeutics. It's not because it's not important, not because you can't make a lot of money for your investors, but because it's a relatively well-served space. And our goal was to be there for entrepreneurs who didn't have that go-to first investor. Also, to your very astute point earlier, the capital journey and risks and how you sell companies for therapeutics is actually quite different from all of these other kind of product-focused companies, whether it's diagnostics or research tools or even agricultural products and synthetic biology that you mentioned that we invest in. So what we found is if we define our universe as these product companies where biology and technology converge and kind of kick therapeutics out of the room, because it's like, you've got your place. This is a place for product companies. That's going to help us help those companies grow.
Yes. And then also educate the founders about, what does the value chain look like for a diagnostic? Like you said, it's so different from a therapeutic. A therapeutic is almost an all or nothing situation where, if you get your drug approved, then, you have a very predictable revenue stream right over an extended period of time, as long as you have patent exclusivity. And I think it's that sort of stable source of revenue that keeps people focused on this. It's very attractive, although the failure rates are very high. So it really is very all or nothing. But, I'm learning through the Intervent experience that in the diagnostic space, there's a lot more optionality and decision making along the way, and you can spin out products along the way in more diversified ways.
That's right.
So it's just a very different model.
Yeah, it's more like what we know from tech, right? So we think about how do we borrow best practices from these different spaces to help our companies. And you're right, it's not all or nothing, let's wait 10 years and hope it works. We build value all along the way in assets that could be commercialized, could be licensed, could be partnered.
Right.
So we find our companies have revenues pretty early on, whereas as I was training as a life sciences venture capitalist, there was you didn't have P&Ls, there was just Ls. You just
lose.
spend money. There was no one knew about. Very few life sciences investors were coming from that operating setting where they were thinking about building businesses. They were thinking about clinical assets. They were often coming with an MD background.